I'm just ready for the offseason to get to work with the guys and fix myself up because I know the type of player I am. And I think the Red Sox knew the player that they drafted, and which I was super thankful for.
You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we have another Red Sox prospect. It is a position player this time, and it's our first one this offseason. We've done a lot of pitchers lately, but we had a member of the 2024 draft class. We got Will Turner. Will, I always like to start these things just with a I can't say layup because it's about the basketball term with Ehrlicher, but how has your offseason been? I know you've obviously been off for around a month now. So how have things been treating you?
It's been great. I'm down here in Fort Myers at the complex. They got me doing the offseason training program down here. So it's super cool being, with all the staff and with all the guys. Makes it a lot more fun. Unfortunately, like Auburn for me is not, I don't have like a bunch of resources to, I guess, do what I want to do. And having the complex down here and having them invite me down here was super, super good for me, at least. So it's been great so far.
Yeah, so you're from Auburn, Alabama, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's football country. Like I feel like that's definitely what you would consider Friday Night Lights territory, all that stuff. Did you grow up playing just baseball? Did you do football also? What was your, I guess, as a kid, like what were your sports?
I played football, basketball, and baseball growing up. I always tell people this, but I was a better football player until I was like 13 or 14. I always wanted to play football. I wanted to play football and baseball in college, but my mom made me quit playing football because she was so scared. And then the baseball offers started to come in as well. So she was like, "Yeah, you're just not going to play anymore." I'm still like a little salty about that because I think I might have been able to do something cool, but I feel like it ended up paying off.
Yeah, something like that. Now, as Alabama, are you like Braves? Are you a Braves fan there? Which team did you root for as a kid?
It's actually funny. I never really rooted for a major league team. I kind of always said that I'm going to be a fan of the team that drafts me, and so I'm a Red Sox. So majority of people from Bama go for the Braves because they're so close to home. But there have been moments where I've cheered for the Braves just because when they were making their World Series run and stuff. And Atlanta's like my second home because I played there growing up during the summers and lived there during the summer. But I've never like claimed to be a Braves fan. I might have, but I'm a Red Sox fan. So, yeah.
What about the Rocket City Trash Pandas?
I actually never went to a minor league game growing up, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this season then was an entirely new experience for you.
Yeah, 100%. Completely different experience than what I'm used to. I've played in minor league stadiums and, of course, like I've hit in big league parks, just BP and stuff. But playing in Greenville to start there, I feel like I'm a little bit spoiled because it's such a nice place and super beautiful field and locker room, clubhouse, just super nice. But crazy experience. Like the environment there is awesome. Like where I went to school, we'd have like maybe 2 to 5 games a year where we'd be like completely sold out. And that was when we would play like Alabama at home or like Southern Miss or Louisiana Lafayette. And the majority of the fans would be like the away team's fans. So it was pretty cool to have like, close to 5,000 people cheering for your team. That was definitely a new experience that I enjoyed.
Now, you said a minute ago, or a couple minutes ago, that you would be a fan of whatever team drafted you. So how long have you known you were going to get drafted someday? Like, when did you start thinking about that?
Honestly, like as long as I can remember. It was just something that I have always felt since I was a kid. I kind of have this sense of purpose that this is what, this is a purpose that I'm supposed to fulfill, is to be a big league baseball player. And, I've never had like any doubts about getting drafted or, playing in the big leagues or like going through the grind of the minor leagues. That's always been something that I've wanted to do, and something that, I guess God instilled in me from when I was a kid to work towards. And it's been for as long as I can remember.
Do you have any like brothers, sisters that are also athletes?
No brother. My older brother is not, and my younger sister cheers. So I mean, she's kind of athletic, but I'm the only really athlete in the family. My parents.
What about
My parents both were athletes, but not collegiate. My mom played a bunch of sports in high school, and then she played tennis like after college. But my dad was like an extreme sports athlete, like snowboarding, skateboarding.
Oh, wow.
Not professionally, but probably could have if he wanted to. But no, like I have like family members who have played in college, played football. Like we're a football family pretty much. But I think one of my grandfathers, my great grandfather on my dad's side played for Alabama or something like that, baseball. So, but other than that, I think I'm the only one.
So you're kind of a trailblazer there then. What do your folks do for work?
My dad's done everything, but now he works in corporate for Guthrie's Chicken Fingers. It's kind of I don't think they have it in the Northeast, but it's kind of like a Alabama, Georgia, Florida place. It's similar. It's like the original like fried chicken and what you think of like Cane's. Guthrie's is like the first one.
Oh yeah.
That's very relevant for this specific show, and we'll get to that in a bit. But there is a fried chicken portion of this. I'm not kidding about that.
Yeah, I'm a big.
That was.
But my dad does that, and then my mom, she is she's a therapist, so she has her own private practice, and she pretty much does like any type of therapy you can think of. So. Yeah.
What do they think of you getting drafted? What was their because I guess if you were a high school player, I'm sure that there was some talk about it for you back then, but I guess like when you actually found out that you were being drafted by the Boston Red Sox, what was your family's reaction to that? And I guess how did you feel?
Honestly, that was a super stressful day for me personally. Most stressful day of my life. Coming into my junior year, I was projected to go, pretty high. And, of course, the season turned out as it did, and that wasn't the case, but we were so thrilled. Like, I just needed the opportunity, and, still to be able to go in the 7th round after the year that I had was truly a blessing. And to be able to go to the Red Sox is even better. Like, after talking to them during the draft combine and, preseason meetings and things like that. My family, we were just ecstatic, like screaming, hollering, it was just a really cool moment. And, it was awesome.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because this was a year where everybody was talking about how many pitchers they drafted, all these like 6'4", 6'5", just like Clydesdales. And then it's like you and Zach Earhart were the two outfielders that were taken. I guess Braden Montgomery, obviously, too. But like that must have been kind of like I feel like it's just usually it's a little more balanced than that. This is just like a big pitchers group and kind of a little position player group.
Yeah, Yeah, no doubt. A lot of pitchers, really. But I mean, I feel like I'm the perfect fit. Like I felt like I was the perfect fit for, what the organization wants for me and what I want for myself. And, that's something that I'm glad that I'm down here in Fort Myers because I'm able to work, specifically with the staff all the time. And it's so like hands-on and things like that. So, yeah, it's great.
I feel like I've been hogging this for a bit, Parker. So you're up.
No, I was just thinking you were talking about the draft class, and we had Shea Sprague on earlier this week, and he was kind of talking about like it seemed the Red Sox have a type when they draft, especially their pitchers. He's like, I looked around, these guys were 6'5", 6'6", 230, 240. It's like all these guys are huge. Like, I saw you were listed at 6'1". Was it weird being one of the shortest guys there of the draft class?
I mean, honestly, not really, because I've been around like tall people all my life. I've always like was short, and then I hit a growth spurt pretty late. But I kind of had a feeling going into this year that the pitchers are going to be big, like they're going to be huge regardless. And then you see like Peyton Tolley, who's like 6'6", 270. You're like, dude, that's a big dude. Like, that's a big dude. But it's different for sure. But I'm aware that, position players aren't usually the tallest. But, and pitchers usually are bigger because the big guys throw hard. So.
Yeah, I feel like after last year when I watched them draft Wee Hunt and Trenter O'Donnell back to back, I'm like, I don't think they can get any bigger than this. And then they go this year and get Peyton Tolley and Brandon Clark and a few other guys that are just big dudes. But I did want to ask you though about your 2024. We were obviously talking about you getting drafted. Then you went out to Greenville. This was all after playing your last season at South Alabama. So you had a hell of a year. It was jam-packed. You had your last season in college, then you got drafted, and then you had your turn pro right away, and you went off to Greenville. How does it feel looking back now that 2024 is kind of over, and you're just like, okay, that was a lot. I can kind of decompress. What do you think about
it? Honestly, like I was super grateful. Like I had so much fun. Like especially when I got to Greenville. Just being in that environment and being around the guys, like I was so happy to be there. And this year was very, very hard for me. I went through some things that I really hadn't gone through before. And, I hadn't really had a down year in like a really long time. And it was unfortunate that, of course, it happened on my draft year because it ends up making a little bit bigger of an impact on me personally. And that was tough. But once the season was over, I was kind of like, okay, I was like, I'm so thankful for everything that I went through. Like it, mentally and dealing with the failure that I dealt with. And I was like, okay, I can like take a step back and take a break for a little bit and kind of reflect on everything that happened. And just being grateful that the Red Sox sent me to Greenville because I felt like that deep down, I was like, okay, I want to start in high A. Like I want to be challenged. I want to fail. I want to see what I need to improve at in order to have a really, really good 2025 and hopefully propel myself as close to the big leagues as I can. And just super thankful for it and thankful for the relationships that I was able to form being there for a month and a half. And it made the transition a lot easier coming into off-season training and things like that. So super thankful for it.
So I do have a question about about that season also, because as you alluded to, it was a struggle for you. And what I read was that there were some adjustments that you made with your hands. And I don't know if it was to hit for more power or something like that, but the adjustments just didn't work. Is that an accurate assessment of it? And if not, like what were the struggles you were going through? And then I guess how, when you got to the Red Sox, did you proceed?
Yeah, so honestly, like I think that scouts and things felt like I lowered my hands and stuff like that. Honestly, I probably did subconsciously. I didn't really mean to. I wasn't trying to hit for more power. Like, I wanted to have the same year I had my sophomore year because it was great. Like, I was like, okay, like that's the player that I am. And I didn't want to change anything. Of course, like, yeah, everybody wants to hit more home runs, but I was like, all right, I'm just going to lift and get bigger. But no, I didn't. I wasn't like chasing power. It was just like I could never get going. Like, it was just a really, really tough year. And I started off, I had like the wrong, my eyes changed. I had the wrong contact prescription for like the first 10 games. And I started off hitless. I was 0 for 19 to start. And then I picked it up a little bit for a couple weeks. And then, you know, I had people tell me to change things and try stuff. And of course, like, I'm like, all right, I want to, be better and help my team win because what I'm doing right now is not enough. And so, of course, I was just tinkering throughout the entire year, could never get it going. Some games I'd be like, okay, like I feel really good. I'd have 3 or 4 hits. And then another game I'd be like, I'd miss like 3 or 4 fastballs down the middle, pop them straight up. And I'm like, what is going on right now? So it was just super up and down, like honestly, mostly down, which was really tough, especially because I wanted to get my team to the postseason for the first time in, 3 or 4 years. And, but, it is what it is. And there's a purpose for it. And, I'm a lot better dealing with failure now than I was then. And I think that's going to pay off in pro ball too, because it's just super up and down. Like, and I even saw that in Greenville too. Like, I didn't hit very well in Greenville either. And my swing was still flawed, but I had so much fun because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the coolest thing ever. I'm playing pro ball right now. And I was in college 2 months ago. And plus I wasn't stressing because I was like, I'm just ready for the off season to get to work with the guys and fix myself up because I know the type of player I am. And I think the Red Sox knew the player that they drafted, and which I was super thankful for. And but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it's something that I think about a lot with baseball. That I have like on you can't see it with this angle, but I have I bought this went to the Hall of Fame with my dad in 2017. I bought this little plaque. It has Ted Williams on it. It says, baseball's the only endeavor where you can fail 7 out of 10 times and be one of the best in your profession.
Yeah.
And even if you know that that's objectively true, I think it's really hard to know that you're going to get your ass kicked, like, at least half the time that you're up. And just have to bounce right back up and do it again and do it again and do it again. And if this is the first time, because I'm sure like you were, it's like you said, you hadn't dealt with this before. You were probably the best high school player on your team. You had, you were expected to be a top 100 draft pick. I was like reading up on your profile. Like you were super impressive player and still are a super impressive player, but you have that, it just doesn't always click sometimes, and then you get into your own head, and it's a really hard thing to adjust to. And I guess I'm going somewhere with this. I guess my question is: was there a point in the college season when you were kind of just like, "Screw this! I know what player I am. I'm going to go back to that," or did it come more after you were drafted and it was like, "Okay, well, this is a clean slate. Here I go." Like, what? How did that end up happening?
I mean, I think in college it was more – I felt more pressure in college just because it's a completely different environment. And it was honestly – I played college for like – after my sophomore year, I went to the Cape. And that kind of gave me a taste of like – I was like, okay, like I feel like this is what pro ball is going to be like super competitive. Like it's just so free. Like you just go out and play your game. Like, that's pretty much all – that's pretty much it. And I just felt a lot more pressure during college. And after I got drafted and went to Greenville, like I felt like a boulder was lifted off my shoulders. I was like, dude, I do not care like how I do right now. I'm just going to enjoy this and be where my feet are. And this has been a really tough year. Of course, I want to succeed, but it's like if I fail, it's going to be okay because I have so much time. And then I was also given a little bit of Some of the front office guys kind of told me, they were like, look, we don't care what your stats are for your first 30 games in pro ball, like your first first stint. Like, we're just getting your feet wet, and like, we just want you to go out and play. And that was a breath of fresh air for me, especially after what I'd gone through. And for them to tell me that was like, okay, like, they know what I can do, and they aren't concerned with what happened this year. They just want to fix what was happening and make me the player that I'm supposed to be. And that's really was great. Like, I was just super, super thankful for that.
Yeah. Like, that must be a real vote of confidence. And also, it's like you're playing on house money. Like, what you do, if they're telling you it's not going to make a difference, you can really just enjoy the moment while you're there, which must have been, especially coming from that. That's so interesting, because you don't usually, at least from our perspective, I don't think about like college being more stressful and having more pressure on you than you would in the pros. But it makes a lot of sense, because I'm sure you were thinking about the draft, and you were thinking about how this was going to affect your future and everything. So that's really, I wouldn't have thought that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I thought about it a few times, but I knew like my bigger. Can y'all hear that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Who is it?
That's Braden Montgomery and D'Angelo.
It's all right. I mean,
but that's
so funny.
They're fools, but they're pretty excited for the World Series game, I think.
Okay.
But shoot, I might have lost my train of thought. Oh no, I remember. I thought about the draft a little bit, but I knew I know what the end goal is and like where I'm going to be. And I know that was just a step, in order to get to the point where I want to be. Like, I had to go through that at some point. I honestly rather would have gone through that my junior year than gone through that my first, full season of pro ball and been like, shoot, what do I do now? And they just paid me all this money, and like, I'm not performing. I feel like that would have put more stress on me than going through what I went through in college and coming into pro ball and being like, having a chip on my shoulder and be like, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole again. Like, I was a 7th rounder. Like, I got to work my ass off to get to the big leagues. And that's kind of like what I've always lived by. That's how I've always been. And it was nice to, have that feeling again.
I promise you, we'll definitely get this wrapped up so you can go join those guys at a good time.
No rush at all. I'm good.
I was you had mentioned that you had some talks with, some front office people and things like that. And obviously now that you're down in the complex and into your off season, what kind of things have they maybe been pointing you in the direction to, of things that, like, you're working on, or things to work through? Like, what have they kind of said to, like, hey, we'd love for you to focus on this? Or has there been any talks like that with them?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's just getting stronger, getting bigger, and hitting the ball harder and hitting the ball in the air. That's really the big main focuses for me. It's actually funny. The week that I went home to evacuate for the hurricane, I had a light bulb moment with my swing. And then whenever I got back to Fort Myers, my swing completely changed overnight, back to normal. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what it's always felt like. So now it's just cleaning that up and just making everything more consistent, just being super consistent in my work, with the ball flight, hitting the ball in the air to the pull side gap, hitting the ball hard. Just for me, bat to ball isn't an issue for me. So they really just want me to work on swinging fast and hitting the ball harder and hit it hard in the air. So it's pretty simple.
I've asked this question to a lot of pitchers because I feel like it's a lot of the focus lately with the Red Sox org is obviously all the driveline guys that have been introduced to the system for the development staff and all that. But as far as hitting goes, has when you are working with Brian Abraham and his team, Are there certain like stats and analytics that they pay more attention to than that you probably weren't aware of, or that are new to you since joining pro ball?
Yeah, I think the majority of like the advanced stats are new to me just because of where I came from. At South, like we didn't really have resources like that. So getting introduced to like ex-WOBA, that's a really, really big focus for us. Like it's like hard hit batting average or something like that. Um, I think end zone contact percentage is a big thing. Um, but I've been introduced to a bunch of that stuff, but I don't focus on the numbers as much. I think XWOB is a great number because it's just like expected numbers almost. So like say if somebody's played in Salem, for example, that place is a graveyard. So like I think Nelly Taylor would be a good example. So like he hits a ball like 108, to right center that either gets caught or is like a double off the wall. Like that's a homer anywhere else. So it's like the XWO ball on that swing is like super, super high. So like if it makes that swing 20 times, like there's like 100% chance that he's going to hit 20 home runs with that swing. So that's a pretty cool stat. And it also makes you feel better, like lining out or like hitting a ball really hard right at somebody. It's like, okay, like if I do that a lot, like I'm going to have success. So that's really like the only advanced number I look at most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly adds a lot of nuance to it rather than just it being like, well, it's an out.
Yeah.
If it was a good, like, if I'm sure for you, on the box score, it's going to look one way, but for you, that's got to be a lot more helpful.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But like, it also hurts whenever, like, I had one swing in Greenville it's like a 99% chance of being a hit and like a 95% chance of being a home run, and it was an out. So like, it can kind of work both ways too. It's like, dude, like that's a home run. Like that's the one, I just hit the 1% ball that didn't go out. But it was honestly kind of funny for me just because of the year I was having and stuff. It was like, oh, well, I'm used to that. Right?
Yeah. That's 2024, right?
Yeah. But 2025 is going to be different. So I got all that stuff out of the way in 2024. So we'll turn it around.
What are you looking forward to the most about your first pro spring training coming up?
Honestly, just like experiencing it. Being around a bunch of big leaguers. I've kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of that already. Being here for the offseason. There's a few pitchers down here. No hitters though. And I'm super excited to be around some of the hitters, at least just like passing through or like in the weight room at the same time. And I know that like I'm not gonna be around them a lot, but there's a lot of guys on that team who like I look at and I'm like, okay, like I really like the way that they play. I really like, the swings they take, how they think. Like that's gonna be interesting. I've never really been a guy that's like gotten starstruck ever. But I think it's definitely going to be like a kind of surreal moment to be like, okay, like this is for real, like seeing those guys be like, that's where I want to be one day. And, picking their brain if I can. And, just getting advice from those guys who have been through the grind and been through the struggle. And, that's honestly what I'm really excited about.
All right, Ed. I think we're getting towards the portion of the show where we're gonna fire off
the lightning round. We're going to the lightning round.
All right.
Yeah,
we need like a special effect for that. We're like with lightning or something. I don't know. I don't know who we can talk to make that, but I'll
workshop. I'm gonna workshop that. All right. I've gotten the same answer for this question like every time, but what do you like to do in your off time?
Honestly, I like to shoot my bow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
like a bow and arrow. I'm assuming that is what you mean.
Yeah, like I have a compound bow and I have a target down here with me at Fort Myers, and fortunately I have like a backyard area that's big enough to where I can shoot into the target. So that's like my hobby that I do kind of when after I get home from practice. Most days I I eat, and then I go out and shoot my bow for 10 minutes to an hour, and just kind of like relaxes me and gets me not thinking about baseball at all. And I play video games occasionally, but I usually just go out and shoot my bow. I like to be outside and play golf sometimes too, but that kind of messes with my swing, kind of goes against what I'm trying to work on right now. So, I really just go out there and shoot a bow into a fake deer, and then that's about it.
How did you pick that up? How did you pick that hobby?
It had been something that I'd been very interested in for a few years, but I never, I guess, had the financial resources to be able to get into it. And fortunately, I have those resources now. So I was able to like get into it, and I kind of researched it a little bit, and I really like the art of it. It's, I like doing things that are difficult, and archery is like one of the most difficult things you can do. So, and it's like super good for your mind. It kind of just teaches you how to like control your breath and like be steady and focus on like what you want to focusing on the target. And I feel like that can translate, to baseball as well. But
sounds a little bit like hitting, yeah.
In a way, but it's just being relaxed and letting the bow do the work for you. And I mean, it's the same thing, like being relaxed and letting the bat do the work for you. That's kind of the same thing. I've never really thought about it until now, but I've been too worried about just making sure my arrow goes into the target and not somewhere else. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I feel like I can ask you this just because I have I have a name that is in a movie.
Yep.
Have you seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
I saw them a really long time ago, but I have not watched them since. But I do have something. I know, and I saw like some of the Twitter stuff after I got drafted. Like, there's a lot of Will Turner stuff on there, Pirates of the Caribbean, and when I get to Fenway one day, I think I'm gonna make my walk-up song the Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
Oh, you got to do it! You got to do it. That's amazing.
I feel like that'd be pretty cool. So that's the first time I've told anybody that. So I didn't want to like spoil it, but sorry.
That's incredible. I kind of I was telling Ed before you hopped on, I'm like, he might hate it so much because he's like, he hears about it so much where he's like, come on, man, like kind of tired of that joke or something, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. It's like, honestly, for me, it's kind of weird, but like there's a little bit of motivation behind it because like I kind of want people, when they think of Will Turner, I want them to think of me first. I don't want them to think of Orlando Bloom. So, and like growing up, like in college, looking up your name on Safari and stuff like that, me just seeing Orlando Bloom on my entire I want to be like the first Wikipedia page up there, and then it's Orlando Bloom. So it's funny. Like at this point, I'm just so used to it. It's funny. Like one of my strength coaches calls me like Bootstrap, and just
All right. Well,
that gets on my nerves a little bit, but
okay.
Besides, we're not going to call you Bootstrap, is what you're saying. No. Don't call you that.
I mean, you can, but like
I don't want to piss you off. It's fine.
Yeah. He's okay with the Pirates of the Caribbean gifs and stuff like that on Twitter. Like I think. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. All right. My next question here. You lived in the state of Mass for a summer there in Brewster. What were a couple of your favorite things about living on the Cape for a summer?
Man, well, I really like the weather. And I was actually fortunate enough to go to Boston for like the pro day workout that we had. So it was cool seeing everything down there. And honestly, it was just like super peaceful, and the water being so close and the beach and being able to, go sit on the beach and enjoy the sunset or things like that was super cool. And just like the environment of everything, it was a lot different than where I was from. So I didn't like go out and do very much. I was kind of just like, I'd play and then go home and play video games or just go hang out with a few of the boys. But like, I really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. And Honestly, it's a surreal moment because the last swing I took in Fenway was a homer into the bullpen. So I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So
that is kind of cool. And I feel like you need to know though that Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, all that area in the summertime just feels like a movie. The rest of the state's not like that though.
No, that's a good way to put it. Like there were times like I'd be driving at night, like through like Falmouth or like Chatham, and I'd be like, dude, I feel like I'm in like horse and buggy times right now. Like there's no light, like the streets are super tight. I'm just waiting for like a dude and a horse and a carriage to come out of the wood. But yeah, it was awesome though.
Yeah, it's that time of the year in the summer, man. I mean, there's a reason why the bridge traffic is so bad on a Friday or a Sunday going back. So
yeah.
There's also a reason that that the Cape Cod League plays in the summer and not November. It's not as nice in the fall. Well, depends on the time because the fall can be really nice. Not good baseball weather though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I got 2 food related questions left. I don't know what you got.
Okay, I got a non-food related one. So we so not really a Pirates of the Caribbean guy. Are you a movies guy or a show guy?
I'm a big movie guy. I'm kind of both, but like I'm an avid movie watcher.
Like, do you have any favorites?
I have a few. Hold on, let me see if I can think of one. I really like every movie that Denzel Washington's in. Like all of his movies are like super good. I'm a big like Equalizer fan. Training Day, I'm a big Training Day fan. American Gangster.
Oh, that was I love it. American Gangster.
All of these are solid.
I really like the James Bond series, like that entire series.
Do you have a favorite James Bond, like the actor?
Definitely Daniel Craig, for sure.
I feel like it's whichever one you grew up on is good. Because for me, it's Pierce Brosnan because that's the age that I am. My parents, it's Sean Connery. I feel like it's like who you're like. That's James Bond, whoever you saw first.
Yeah, I can't like see it any other way. Like without him in it, just makes it. It's just kind of weird.
I almost feel like that's for me too, and I'm closer to your age, Ed. I don't know. But
no, but I think Daniel, you were at the beginning of Daniel Craig. He had like a long tenure because I remember that I was in high school when Casino Royale came out. So that would have been the first. You were a couple of years younger than me, so you would have been like junior high or something. Then I don't know. I'm old.
Yeah. It's all good. What about shows? Because we asked this question to a lot of guys, and like what kind of show? What show is something you're watching or something you've liked that you've watched recently? And 85% of the guys said Suits. Have you seen Suits?
I watched Suits for a little bit, but I got bored.
That's fair.
I'm a big Peaky Blinders fan.
Oh, interesting.
Big Peaky Blinders fan. Shoot. I've watched so much stuff, like I just forget. But Peaky Blinders. Shoot. I can't think of like another good series. Oh, I really like Yellowstone. I don't know if y'all seen that, but that's like
yeah,
that's like up there. It's like Peaky Blinders, Yellowstone, like Reacher. I watched that. But those are I can't think of any more, but those are like probably up there in my top 10 for sure.
You went to Peaky Blinders very quickly, so I feel like that's the top pick.
That's number 1 for sure. Like best show I've ever watched in my life. It was awesome.
All right, I have 2 food ones left, and then I don't know if Ed's got anything, but we can let you slide. I know the guys are waiting for you.
I doubt that. They probably forgot about me, honestly.
Okay. All right. Well, you preluded to this question earlier. We said it would get to fried chicken eventually, and it is now. So we did a lot of these interviews last offseason with guys all around the Red Sox system and even some other orgs. And I asked this question to every single guy. So I'm curious what your input is, but I'm almost going to rule out that you can't say a place though that your family works at for this question.
What? You can say a place that your family works at.
All right, fine. All right, I'll allow it.
You want him to get disowned? Like,
all right, fine. I'll allow it. All right. So my question is, you are gonna go get some lunch at a fast food fried chicken place, and every single place is an option. It's got to have a drive-through. Every single place. Where are you going?
Okay, so I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm gonna go to Guthrie's. But I'm going to say that because that is like my true answer. And I have a reason behind that. So my thing is, so Guthrie's was the original chicken finger place. And like one, it's like super close to my house in Auburn. So it's like super accessible and it's open like all night. But so Guthrie's was like the original place, and Cane's and Zaxby's, the guys that founded that, worked for Guthrie's. And
interesting.
They tweaked the recipes of like the chicken and the fries a little bit, and of course Cane's has like the oval toast or whatever, and Guthrie's has like normal square toast and stuff like that. So like I'm big on like going to like the original place because I think it's the best in my opinion. And plus Guthrie's has the best sweet tea by far too. So and that's big. That's a big thing for me. So I got to say Guthrie's 10 out of 10 times. But if isn't available just because Guthrie's isn't available, I mean, I'd probably go to Cane's.
That's all good. Zaxby's is obviously far superior, but it's all right. I have to try Guthrie's. I just like I have to try Chicken Express. I know Hunter Dobbins talked that up a lot, so
Chicken Express had really good sweet tea. It was interesting. I went to San Antonio with my dad earlier this year, and Hunter Dobbins had been hyping up Chicken Express so much. Like we passed one on the highway, and I was like, okay, like we're stopping there.
Gotta try it.
Yeah. The chicken was good. I wouldn't say it was like 8 out of 10. The sweet tea was amazing though. The sweet tea was like, and I think that it might just be being from the Northeast where like, you know, like it's just not the same thing. But that was like, I remember him being like, yeah, no, it's going to literally knock you out of your shoes. And yeah, that is actually what happened. That was real good. So what's so good about the Guthrie sweet tea?
It's just like being from Alabama, it's sweet tea is like a big deal in the South. So like up north, I tried to get sweet tea when I was in the Cape and it was like,
yeah, good luck.
No, it's like super, super sweet in the South. And like Guthrie's sweet tea is just so sweet. Like that's what makes it so good. But I mean, that's really all I have. It's so sweet. So that's what makes it.
All right. Well, I got my last one that we can end on, unless Ed, you want to end on something after this. But your teammate this past in Greenville, Max Carlson, said something that this answer to this question says a lot about somebody, and I agree with them. So I want to see what you got. So you got 3 of your fingers, right? And they can dispense 3 sauces. But those are the only sauces that you get to use for the rest of your life. You can't use anything else. What are those 3 sauces?
Okay. Guthrie sauce, yum sauce, and this is super specific, but I'm gonna go Wingstop ranch.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
No one there hurts, honestly, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
You know, a lot of guys have been leaving out ranch, which is crazy. Like, just crazy.
That is not. I have to have ranch. I have to.
But Wingstop ranch, they got some good ranch.
Yeah, they do. I'm like a little bit picky about my like ranch and stuff like that. Like I only eat like a specific, like it has to be like the thick ranch, like Hidden Valley, like no chance. Like I'll never eat. But like for my hometown, there's this restaurant called Red Elephant, and they have like the best ranch ever. And if I had to say them, I didn't want to go like too outlandish. But yeah, Wingstop Ranch would be on there for sure.
All right. Well, my wife likes to get that every now and then, so maybe next time I'm gonna have to make sure I pay attention to it. But
you have to. Yeah.
All right, Will. Well, we appreciate all the time you gave us. You gave us 45 minutes of your time, so we definitely appreciate that. We're looking forward to seeing you in spring training and everything. So hope the off season treats you well. But thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. It was awesome.